Hi everybody, and thank you for joining us to this live event today about the iLoud micromonitors and iLoud speakers in general. We will have a technical deep into all the technical aspects related to studio monitoring today. I am Davide Barbi, CTO of IK Multimedia.
And I'm Lorenzo Iori, product manager for the studio monitors and the ARC line.
As you all know, IK Multimedia is working and is offering interesting products since many years into the studio monitoring segment. Started in 2007 with a pioneering, innovative product that was called ARC Studio. ARC System. This was a software-only correction system that was used to calibrate your monitoring system back in the time when actually it was pretty much the only solution offering this. Basically, it was needed to correct the response. The only thing that the user was needing to do was measuring the room and then applying this plugin on the master bus of your DAW, and this was seamlessly providing a calibrated solution for the monitoring.
Yeah, it was something that nobody actually knew of. Room calibration was something very new.
Exactly. And it was really pioneering. Since then, and it was 2007, since then we continued improving that system, which is still nowadays available in much more recent products. And at a certain point, IK Multimedia started releasing actual speakers. So started gradually moving into the studio monitoring range. The first one was the iLoud, which was a battery-powered, compact, portable speaker. That was it was different from the competition back at the time because of its neutrality. So even if it was a portable, Bluetooth-equipped, you could say today, smart speaker, it actually was already a studio monitor because of its transparent sound. It was tailored for musicians, but also for creators, video editing and everything. All the kind of jobs where you really need to make sure of what you are hearing. At the foundation of this, you have to be sure of what you are hearing, and you have to make yourself confident about the translation of the program you are working on. We started developing studio monitors. The first one that opened this kind of very successful product range was the iLoud micromonitor in 2016.
Yes, iLoud micromonitor is a master and slave configuration setup with two very small and compact form monitors, making 50 watts of power both. So the system is the whole system is 50 watts of power. It's extremely compact, so it fits in basically any backpack, any trolley, anything you want. You can bring it around everywhere, and they weigh basically like 1.5 kilos both. So the total weight is very, very little, and the sound quality is impressive. So when it came out, we aimed at making something that is a reference studio monitor. So it's not a consumer multimedia speakers. This has been designed to be a reference studio monitor.
Right.
And this is exactly...
Originally, they were resembling some sort of desktop computer speakers.
Yeah.
Because of the very compact form factor. But soon, every user realized that they are actual studio monitors, super transparent and reliable in terms of presentation.
Yeah, in fact, during the years, this has been an extremely successful product, and it has sold over 70,000 units, and it's actually found in a lot of pro setups like live vans recording studios, mobile recording studios, live gigs, on stage for instruments for personal monitoring. So it basically can be applied to any audio field, and it still stands up as an impressive product for its size, because it can deliver a pretty strong punch even if it's very small, and the sound is very neutral and linear.
Yes, low-end extension and neutrality are its typical, main factors that created this huge success for the product. It also gained the reputation during the year, and now it's a very solid reputation, about a winner in terms of translation. So most mixes today in the studios gets checked on the micro monitor before they get the final go.
Yeah. And then we took it one step further, and we decided to tackle also the pro sector. And so we designed the product, which is called Micro Monitor Pro.
Which is actually recent, but...
Yeah, it's the latest addition to the family, but its place is right after in the size. It's right after the Micro Monitor because it still keep its original compact size.
Just slightly bigger,
yeah.
But...
It's, of course, a bit bigger because to get the low-end extension that this product has, it's necessary to increase a bit of the dimensions, but it's still an extremely portable product. It still can be fit in the backpack, so you can bring it around everywhere, just like the old micro monitor.
Yeah, backpack, and also extremely tight studio situations. So places and spaces where you are producing the content. Could it be production of music or mixing of live streams, everything, typically in spaces where you have no space.
Yeah.
So 10 centimeters of space on a desk are enough for these speakers.
Yeah. And these speakers are hugely improved on the sonic performance. They have a slightly bigger woofer, and they can get down to 47 hertz in a low-end extension, which is impressive for a speaker that is less than 2 kilos of weight.
Right.
There are 2 independent speakers, so there's no master and slave configuration anymore.
So they are identical.
Yeah, identical speakers, and each speaker can deliver 50 watts of power, so double the power compared to the micro monitors. And they feature balanced input on the XLR connection. And they can also connect to our software control software that is called X Monitor, which allows you to basically control all the settings of the speaker without need to reach for the back buttons, and so gives you a smooth experience if you're using a home studio setup where
it also extends actually the possibilities that you have using the switches on the back of the speakers. You can do more with the software.
Of course. And one of the standout feature is that it implements also our ARC room correction built inside it. So since we already know, we know how important is a room treatment into how the speakers sound, basically the better point where you start from in the room treatment is obviously the best start. But in the real world, it's not always possible to get a perfect treated room or a perfect sounding environment. And from our experience, basically 95% of the time, every room, even the best engineered one, still have some minor issues that need to be tackled. And the room correction built inside the monitor can deliver outstanding results because they can bring you one step further to listening neutrality and mixed translation to real world scenarios. And of course, the integrated built-in correction also can make any space be good sounding, enough good sounding for working in it. So even very difficult scenarios, for example, live venues or
completely untreated
untreated spaces, because either you cannot treat them because they're not maybe yours, or you cannot apply treatment, can become a working scenario for you.
Yes.
And this solves.
And joining the portability with this feature actually bring the possibility to transform any place into a workplace for audio, any kind of audio work. So
having it built in is fast and effective and can turn any listening environment into a working environment for you. So this is a pretty huge feature that has been implemented into this monitor. And then we also have the next product in line, which is the iLoud MTM MKII. So this is a reissue of our old iLoud MTM, which is a studio monitor that came out in 2019. And this speaker is the bigger one in our plastic enclosure compact form speakers. This one has MTM, so mid-woofer, tweeter mid-woofer configuration. This is called a Dapolito configuration. That Davide, if you want to talk a bit about this.
It's a specific configuration of the drivers. MTM means mid-tweeter, mid. where basically differently than what happens on other dual woofer speakers, both woofers are emitting the same mid-range range.
Right.
This is called the polito, which is the physics that discovered this range. The advantages are that the vertical dispersion is very controlled, especially in the crossover range, and this means that actually already at a small distance from the speaker, let's say half a meter, the speaker being symmetrical already can actually be considered as a point source, sound source. Because if you think of the two woofers, they are actually playing the same frequency range. So already at a short distance, they can be actually considered like a single woofer, slightly bigger woofer in the center of the speaker, and so which is actually coaxial with the tweeter. It's not exactly a coaxial speaker, but consider that having very transparent, linear, and good sounding coaxial speaker is extremely difficult and very costly. So this is actually a very effective way to approximate a coaxial with simpler speakers, basically. Consider that also all these speakers, both the Micromonitor Pro, the MTM MKII, and also the Precision, as we will see afterwards, are linear phase and time aligned speakers. Right. So consider having a point source like sound source together with time alignment. This is what we call a single speaker approach, because it is known that the best speaker system in the world would be the one using only one speaker, just one speaker, to avoid split of frequency, time misalignments, and so on. That's why all our speakers are trying to approximate an ideal single speaker system.
Right, thank you. And also, this speaker is twice the power than the Micromonitor Pro, so it has 100 watts per speaker. It features balanced input as well as TRS unbalanced input if you want, because it can be used either way. And just like the Micromonitor Pro is compatible with our X Monitor software and features built-in arc room calibration. This speaker is around 2 kilos each for each speaker, I think.
Extremely lightweight.
Yes. Still. And so it's still portable. If you want to move it around, it can be used as a personal monitor in the stages. It can be used as front of house listening monitor. It can be used in a lot of ways. This product has become, in the years, a staple product in the iLoud family.
Front of house on the console, you mean?
Yeah,
because
it can.
Not the front of house.
Yeah. It can be used literally everywhere. The low-end extension is insane for the size, because it can get down to 40 Hertz, which is impressive. Of course, the volume it can get on that frequency is not that loud, of course, because physics are physics. You cannot violate them. But still, it can be used as a main monitor in home studios or in
in home
production rooms, in a lot of places where you don't need actual 120 SPI volume.
Consider that then when working at home, you never go really over 80 dBs.
Yeah.
85 if it's loud.
Yeah. So
and being able to monitor down to 47 Hertz without any subwoofer in a speaker that stays on the desktop in a very space-tight environment, it's a lifesaver, basically.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. And basically this is our biggest compact studio monitor. And then, of course, we decided to take it one step further and tackle also the high-end pro monitors. And Davide, I can introduce you to our next line.
The next series after the iLoud MTM is the Precision, iLoud Precision. There are 3 speakers, 3 sizes, 5-inch, 6.5, and again the Polito MTM 2 per 5 inches form factor. Basically, the concept here is having a truly high-end sounding speaker at the price of a mid-sized, mid-priced speaker. So the Precision series can really give a presentation that rivals high-end speakers. I won't mention names now here, but I mean speakers that can cost 3 to 4 times the price of the precisions and play in the same quality arena. The iLoud MTM, the iLoud Precision MTM can be considered in between between the near field and the midfield because of the SPL it can put out and because of the stunning clarity and precision actually the speakers can deliver. Of course, as Lorenzo was saying, even the best $30,000 speakers cannot express itself properly and cannot provide reliable performance if the room is not sounding nice. So also the precision are sporting integrated room calibration and are compatible with the X Monitor software. So there is an ecosystem where the X Monitor software can control the Micro Monitor Pro, the iLoud MTM MKII, and the 3 precision models.
Also the integrated calibration is exactly the same between precision MTM M2 and Micro Monitor Pro.
Right,
so
the same.
The sound quality is of the correction is exactly the same between all the speakers because we are not scaling it down. We can adapt it and make it sound exactly the same between all the speakers.
In fact, this presentation is going toward the end. We don't want to become boring. But we so that we will leave space to the question and answer section. But I think there is something that needs to be mentioned now, which is the ARC system and the iLoud monitors with integrated ARC. We chart the differences, why we have both. And to start this explanation, I would like to mention also the ARC Studio, which is an hardware product that allows for correcting any pair of studio monitors, being them digital, analog, vintage, new, small, big, cheap, or very pricey. It's taking the correction generated by the ARC software and it's putting it into a small box that has a couple of XLR input and a couple of XLR output. Just put this little box between the sound source that can be a DAW, an audio interface, an analog mixing desk, a digital mixing desk for the broadcasting studios. There are many now equipped with digital desks, a monitor controller, everything in between there and the speaker. So there's this little box sits there, takes the correction from the software, it stores into the hardware and can stay there forever. You can literally forget about it and having your speakers corrected even if they don't have built-in calibration.
It can also be left unplugged from the computer. Once it has the calibration stored in, you can unplug it and set and forget, and it stays there with the calibration. It can be bypassed, and the bypass is actually true bypass, so it features relay based. So it's just like having a cable. Once it's bypassed, there's no anything in between. The in and the out.
And we are seeing it going everywhere. Really a big number of units has already been sold in less than 1 year in studios all over the world. People are using this box for speakers that cost $200 each up to $50,000 per speakers. Of course, the analog conversion on board is stellar because you need to have that because you are putting, this processing in a very critical point of the signal flow of your studio. And this, I think, is the reason why everybody is using it even on a very, very expensive speakers. It's $299. It's very cheap. This is not should not confuse the idea about being it a really, really high quality device. That's why.
It does few things, but those few things are done perfectly. So there's no anything in between.
So the difference between the ARC world and the iLoud with ARC world is basically in the editing. With ARC and by consequence with ARC Studio, you have the possibility to alter the way the correction is made. You can actually tweak or tune your monitoring system out to your hearing preferred balance because the system is making it flat and even. So after that, if you want slightly more bass, for example, because we are all used to work in closed spaces, of course. Closed spaces, typically they have very high peaks and valleys in the response because of the room modes, but the average of the alteration is always toward the boost, rarely toward an attenuation. So you might want to give a little bit of that bass boost after the correction. You can do that with ARC, no problem. There are many target curves to choose from. You can select different resolution of the correction. You can switch between natural or linear phase corrections. Save all the calibration profiles for later recall and so on. The version inside the iLoud monitors is actually exactly the same in terms of sonic quality, but it is less flexible because you can still tweak it, but not that deep as you can do with ARC. One last note about the ARC correction. The way we think about the studio monitor calibration, the way we think it should sound is about it being invisible, meaning that we want the corrected speakers to sound as if they are naturally playing in a well-made room. We don't want the speakers to sound, yes, correct, but artificially corrected. The initial speaker correction systems were sounding like this. They were sounding, okay, flat, neutral, but somehow weird. The research that IK Multimedia put since 2007 up to now, it's a lot of years, has always been with ARC 2, 3, and now 4 and ARC Studio, has always been to make the correction natural. That's the whole argument.
Just like if the room is actually treated.
Is actually treated, yes, without any artificially introduced element. Yes. So we think.
That's all. I think
I think we have already been quite.
Quite long.
Quite long. So we are going toward the questions. We actually are not sure, but we really think that most of the people that are assisting to this stream must be technical ones, so already prepared on speakers, and so we are really looking at the question. The first one is, what is the difference in terms of sound between Micromonitor and Micromonitor Pro? Lorenzo, you are the best to answer this.
So the difference in sound, I mean, it's a higher end speaker, Micromonitor Pro. So you get what you expect from a higher end speaker. So you get more low end extension. That is the main standard feature that you get when listening to them. The Micromonitor Pro can get much more volume on the output. It can get, since it's double the power, of course, it can get pretty louder compared to old Micromonitor.
Also on the low end,
the low end as well can get many dBs more, and it features built-in calibration. So that's something that is huge, because imagine working in as I said before, in conditions where the room is making it hard for you to work and to concentrate on what you're hearing, because there is a lot of reverb, there is a lot of coloration, that anything can happen in a not treated room, and having the correction can get that to an acceptable level. It's not making it perfect, of course, because if the room is sounding bad, there is no correction software that can make it sound perfect, of course.
Not perfect, but workable.
It becomes, you can work on it with confidence and with speed. That is something that is very important for professionals, because of course in the
speed and a little bit of confidence on the translation, which is the most important aspect.
Micromonitor Pro features built-in calibration, and that is huge. And it features X-Monitor compatibility, as I said, so it can be used in a pretty smart way compared to the old Micromonitor. And so in sound, basically it sounds bigger because it has more low end and louder, which is two main things that...
yes, I would say that the fact that you in the Pro you have the correction of the room, which is a lifesaver.
And that's a game changer for...
and more SPL level. It's I was reading this question when I do the calibration and the contouring on X Monitor. Can I transfer the final result to the Micro Pro? Yes, actually, what happens is that you don't even need to transfer, because the X Monitor is actually a remote control and all the functionality is already in the speaker. So when you are actually calibrating the room with the microphone and adjusting the response in X Monitor, you are already actually modifying the parameters inside the speaker. So at that point, you can disconnect the software anytime without saving anything.
Yeah.
That the speaker will retain the settings because they are already actually running on the speaker.
Any edit made on the X Monitor software is basically just like editing the back buttons of the unit.
It's an editor, actually.
Yeah. So when you move something, it already is done on the speaker itself, and you can close the app anytime from there, and the sound will stay the same, unless modified, of course, with the back button or with X Monitor again.
Yes.
So there's not. If you want, you can save the setting, the session, for easy recall. In case you move around, you modify the settings, you can recall the setting from X Monitor, but you don't need to save it on the hardware.
In case you want to, for example, to switch the speakers, for example, you can save the session and recall it on other speakers, but everything is already happening into the speaker.
Right.
Is the is there an iPad version of the X Monitor app? No, not at the moment, and there are no plans for this. Consider that all these speakers and also the Arc Studio hardware connects to the computer via USB. So there is no wireless connection between the speakers and the software at the moment.
Is the Micro Monitor Pro a MKII version of Micro Monitor? Yes and no. So no, it's not MKII because it's not our issue of that product,
and it's not replacing it.
Yes, it's not. We are currently producing both. They are both active products, so it's not proper to say it's an MKII version. We can say it's an improved version for professionals. So it's a product that takes the let's say the good from that product, from the Micro Monitor, which was the portability and the reference sound, and bring it one step further for aiming at professional market, basically.
Exactly. They don't have the same price.
Yeah.
And they don't have the same power. I mean, it's
they can tailor two different market segments. So so they can you can choose either one depending on your scenarios. If you really need portability and you don't care about the calibration because you're moving a lot, and even one less kilo of weight is something that is massive for you, you can buy the old Micro Monitors.
Or maybe you can correct the Micro Monitors with Arc Studio. For example.
You can get an Arc Studio. You can mix and match, just like I want to say.
Yes. So really feel free to ask additional questions, because there are many things that maybe can be totally clear for us, but actually when going to the real studio setting, maybe being quite innovative speakers and quite innovative technology with the room correction might be not that clear for everybody. For example, one of the aspects that we are frequently asked, is the number of measurement points in the room. When you need to correct a room, you need to take measurements. We provide a microphone for this. It's a very interesting microphone because it's a MEMS-based measurement microphones, meaning they use the same little microphone that we have inside our smartphones. They are not condenser microphones, as they used to do, as they used to be. Sorry. The advantage is that those microphones are going to stay the same with years, with time, with weather conditions, and ambient conditions, generally speaking. So the most important thing for a measurement microphone is that it's stable.
Yes.
And even if it's not totally flat, it's not flat, but our software knows the response, so it compensates for it, and then it becomes flat, and it remains like that for years and years.
Yes.
So these microphones, you need to place it in the room, and in various points. ARC asks for 7 or 21 points. So it's a very sophisticated system. The 21 points are at 3 different levels, while the speakers can take the measurement on 1, even just 1 or 4 points. So these points needs to take account into the area where you want to work. If you work on a small area, you measure all the points inside the small area. If you want to have your co-workers or the artist working with you, then you need to cover a wider area with the measurements, because the system is actually taking into account an average, a very special average of the issues that are happening in the room in the various points, and it's deciding which issues needs to be addressed and which one is better not to address, to create that artificial behavior that we were talking about some minutes ago and that we want to really avoid.
Yes. I think that we can give another 5 minutes if somebody wants to write their question in the chat, that we can answer that. Another very asked question in the years has been, I see that the ARC software does not perfectly make the response flat. It keeps up some changes. So some people try to fix that with the included ARC software EQ.
Yes.
That is, I mean, the ARC...
There is
the EQ inside of ARC has been placed there as a contour, as we call it, because that is designed to give the user the ability to tune the sound to their likings. So if I prefer a bit more low end than the flat response, I can give it in the software without having to add an external EQ on that. And
it's a special EQ because it's working on the correction filter.
Yes.
It's not an added equalizer.
Yes, it's the same filter that gets tuned to your likings, basically. And the reason why sometimes it really depends on the situation, but sometimes the ARC software does not perfectly linearize the response, is that, as Davide said before, ARC has a pretty complex algorithm going on behind it, and basically there are some issues that the software decides that it's better not to correct.
Yes.
In order to completely avoid what Davide was saying before, of having something that sounds artificial, because that sound, even if it's flat, it's way worse than small issues in the response.
Yes, the overall philosophy and strategy is exactly that: is to remove the issues that are detrimental to the sound quality, but not the ones that are not offending.
Yes.
Instead, if we would like to target a perfectly flat line, that is possible. It's not really going to sound that nice.
Yeah. So it's always a compromise between how the measurement is and how our ears and brain perceives it, because there are some situations where even incredible bumps or dips in the response can actually translate to very being pleasant sounding compared to correcting them flat and having it sound harsh or...
Yes, for example, for our brain, working in a small studio means hearing more bass.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for us to adapt to a perfectly flat response as you would have in an open space, in a small space.
Yes.
It's the same connection the brain makes. So, yes. Well,
I think
we really would like to invite everybody that has the possibility to join the listening tour.
Yes.
That these speakers are taking all over the world. They are traveling a lot, and because the tours are made in places where the listening experience is of an high quality, because they are studios or especially dedicated rooms at the dealer's point. So we believe these are really big quality speakers. They can help you a lot in developing audio that perfectly translate outside, which is actually the only important functionality a studio monitor should have. And but me and Lorenzo can talk a lot about this, but there is nothing better than listening to the speakers. Bring with you your own material, or ask for the operators to listen to the songs to play the songs that you would like to listen, and that's the best thing. And we really would like to thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks
for joining us this live session today, and really hope.
There also will be another live session next Monday. So in case you missed this one or couldn't attempt, feel free to join us next week. And and thank you very much for joining us, and have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.